Next question is, what has been the most impactful media? This could be a book, a podcast, an influencer, a YouTube channel, in my professional life, and why? I can't limit it to just one. Sorry. There have been two books that, especially when I dropped out, shortly after dropping out, made a very big impact in my life. And one was Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss, and the other is Mindset by Carol Dweck. Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss is a really interesting read. He's a former FBI negotiator, and so he tells some interesting stories about negotiation, and his perspective is that everything is a negotiation in life. So why was it so impactful to me, though? I'm not a master negotiator by any stretch of the imagination, but chapters 2 and 3 specifically, they talk about mirroring and labeling, which have been two tools that I've used to improve my ability to communicate and thus create stronger relationships with the people around me. So extremely, extremely valuable soft skills kind of a book about communication, negotiation, and for me, I've taken that and used it to help build the relationships around me, which, as I mentioned before, has helped me overcome some of the greatest challenges, including self-doubt in my life. The other book that I mentioned was Mindset by Carol Dweck. It's all about two types of mindsets, the growth mindset and the fixed mindset. And what I love about this book is it's helped me acknowledge where I have a fixed mindset in my life, where I might say, well, I'm just not good at this, or, oh, I could never do that, or I'm really good at this. That's also a fixed mindset, right? Saying that you're really good at something can be a fixed mindset, and it can have its own set of issues. Instead, what that book has helped me do is focus on the process of becoming and focus on not needing to be a perfectionist or not even having to be the best at something, but being willing to take on new experiences for the sake of growth alone. That has been very empowering. And the way that she lays out the growth mindset, the fixed mindset, has been extremely insightful for me and has encouraged me to take chances and take on new opportunities, do things like this podcast, for example, where it's a little uncomfortable, to be honest, right? Especially right now, I'm sitting in my garage talking to myself. But taking on challenges that are uncomfortable, that push your limits, and knowing that you might fail, that you might not be the best, that is the growth mindset, because you have a higher goal of developing who you are, and there's no growth in the comfort zone. So that book, she says it so much better than I just did. Mindset by Carol Dweck, highly recommend it to anybody that's looking to grow, that's looking to push themselves to a next level and overcome a mindset of I can't. Next question. What is a tool that I depend on, and how do I use it? It might not be that unique, but I use Google Tasks every day, multiple times a day, but I don't really use it in just a to-do list kind of fashion. I've taken my own spin on it, combining the 4 quadrants from 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, another really great book. So let me unpack that a little bit. The Google Tasks app, that's just a to-do list, right? Very common. I'm sure many of you use it yourselves. But the 4 quadrants from 7 Habits of Highly Effective People include the first quadrant, which is urgent and important. Urgent and important tasks might be something like getting flowers for your wife for your anniversary. There's a deadline, there's a timeline that needs to be met, but it's also serving a higher purpose, which in this case would be building a relationship with your wife. Okay? That's how I define it, at least. The second quadrant is urgent and not important. These are like the crises of life. Your toilet explodes and you need to get that fixed. It's urgent, but it's not necessarily helping you on your way to your higher mission or higher values in life. It's not achieving a higher goal. So urgent, but not important. That's what that would be. And then not urgent and important, that's where you want to spend as much time as possible. So not urgent and important, to me, that's this podcast. Nobody's telling me I have to do it. Nobody's giving me a timeline of when to do it. But for me, it's important because it's helping me grow. It's hopefully going to help me with my network and push me to a new place professionally and personally that I want to be. So this is an important thing to me, but it's not urgent. Again, that's where I try to spend more time than I currently am, and that's where we want to spend the most time. And then not urgent and important, the fourth quadrant, that's like watching The Office for the 8th time. I spend too much time personally in that quadrant, trying to spend more time again in that third quadrant of not urgent and important. So all that to say, I've basically taken Google Tasks and I've just made different to-do lists for each of those quadrants. And so when I have a thought, I say, okay, I write down what I need to do. And then at least once a day, I take my to-do list and I prioritize it into those different quadrants. And then within those quadrants, I prioritize those tasks. So it helps me focus on what's most important, what needs to get done now, and time management, right? So I use that tool very, very religiously for my time management. Well, that's it for this episode of Dedicated Dropouts. I hope you enjoyed the show. Please be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more insights in the future. Thanks so much for listening, and until next time, stay dedicated.